Hello and welcome to Jim's EV Adventures. This is an episode of my Bolt EUV because we're going to talk about the Bolt at 18 months and 43,000 miles. I've owned the 2023 Bolt EUV Premier Redline Edition in Summit White for the past some 549 days, it says. I can honestly say without anyone bribing me or paying me a single dime that this is the best car that I have ever owned. We're going to see how the Hyundai IONIQ 5 plays out over the course of the next few months. And I'm going to do a comparison and contrast video between those two vehicles here within the next week or so. Considering the fact that I have owned over 21 vehicles over the past 40 plus years, to include Datsuns, Fords, Mazdas, Pontiacs, Hondas, Hyundais, Kias, Chevrolets, that says a lot. The best out of 21. And I'm going to pop up a video of all the cars I've owned, or at least similar models, during this video, and I'll discuss some of their qualities. But before I do that, in this video we're going to cover my prior cars. We're going to talk about the total cost of ownership through 18 months. Don't have any really notable road trips other than the fact that we went to Ormond Beach a couple of weekends ago. I don't have any new aftermarket additions, but I will talk a little bit more about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now let's start out with the previous cars that I've owned, and I'm going to try to go in order here. My first vehicle when I was in high school was a 1976 Datsun B210 Honeybee trim, if any of you guys remember that. And I traded it in after I joined the Air Force on another Datsun B210. In 1984, as my family started growing, I needed a four-door car. So we traded it in on a 1984 Chevrolet Cavalier. And that was by and far the absolute worst car I ever owned. 1986, traded that Cavalier in on a Ford Taurus. In 1987, I bought an additional car. It was a 1979 Pontiac Bonneville Coupe. In 1988, I traded that Pontiac Bonneville Coupe in on a brand new Mazda 2200 pickup truck. 1991, we bought a Mazda Protege. In 1993, we bought a Ford Aerostar minivan. In 2001, I traded up to a Hyundai Santa Fe. 2003, traded that in on a Ford F-150 Crew Cab Lariat. In 2003, we also added a Mazda MPV minivan. It was a 2001 model used. In 2005, we added a Kia Rio. That was a used four-door car just for running around, and wound up giving that away to someone who was in need in 2008. In 2012, I traded in the Hyundai Entourage minivan that I'd bought in 2007 on a 2012 Jeep Wrangler Sahara. In 2015, I traded that in on a Honda Civic sedan, and the next year I decided I didn't need a sedan anymore, so I upgraded to a 2016 Honda Civic Coupe. It was a touring in bright red. There's a picture of it right there. In 2019, my gas bill was out of control. I was putting almost $150 worth of gas in a Civic, driving so much every month that I decided to go electric. And that was when I bought my 2017 Bolt EV. That was my first electric car. That's been almost 5 years ago. In 2023, early 2023, I upgraded the 2017 Chevrolet Bolt to the 2023 Chevrolet Bolt EUV Premier Redline that you see over my shoulder here. That is my daily driver, and it will be until the car will not run anymore. And just a few weeks ago, if you've been watching the channel, you know that we added this 2024 Hyundai IONIQ 5 SEL rear-wheel drive, and that is now my wife's daily driver. So these are just a few of the cars that I've owned over the years. Now let's talk about my experience as an automobile owner and driver and operator. As you can see, my experience with automobiles is varied and extensive. I have owned and operated ICE vehicles over the years with over 800,000 miles driven on the vehicles that I owned myself. I have put over 110,000 miles on all the electric vehicles that I own. That's primarily the two Bolts. And that's just so far. Driving rental cars and military vehicles over the years, I'm well over 1 million miles behind the wheel of vehicles. That's without a single accident and with only one ticket in that entire time. So when some petrol head makes an offhanded remark in the comments section, I only have one thing to say to them. I have driven and have more experience with ICE cars than you have with electric vehicles. I have 10 times more experience with ICE cars than you have with electric vehicles, and likely more. So maybe you should think once or twice before popping off in the comments section trying to look intelligent and knowledgeable, because you're not. You're speaking out of turn, and those comments are simply a sign of your complete and total ignorance when it comes to electric cars. But do stick around. I encourage you to stick around if you're a petrol head. You might actually learn something on this channel. And if you do, your ignorance will disappear. Now that we have the preliminaries out of the way, let's talk about the additional EUV total expenses through 43,000 miles. So we didn't take a whole lot of road trips, like I said earlier. We only have about 7,631 miles that are trip miles. That's brought DC fast charging costs up to $610.04. Level 2 home charging, still the most expensive part of the charging, if you will. 35,369 miles, $1,477.01. That's about 4.17 cents per mile. Maintenance costs have gone up because now I've included the new set of tires that I put on the car at 41,500 miles. Still, $807.88 through 43,000 miles. There's not an ICE car alive that can do that much in terms of mileage with that little in terms of cost. So the total operating costs through 43,000 miles, including all charging and all maintenance, $2,894.93. You'd have to be getting over 120 miles per gallon on your ICE vehicle to even come close. So some of the other maintenance activities include washing, waxing, and vacuuming. That's sweat equity. I purchased a K&N cabin air filter, so the only equity we have, or the only maintenance expense we have there, again, is sweat equity, and you can see me cleaning that cabin air filter over my shoulder there. I had suspicion that my front end was out of alignment at 40,000 miles, and when I had it in for service, they did a check that cost $0. So you can see any other additional maintenance costs have been near nothing. I did break down and buy a new camera that I was going to put in my Bolt EUV. It has a 4K front and just an HD rear camera. But I transferred ownership to the new Hyundai, and I'll do a video on that in the near future. It was only $59.95 from Amazon. I'll put the link below. I do want to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good thing is this car is still running and operating as if it were brand new. No issues whatsoever. 43,000 miles. The paint finish is holding up well, and that says a lot considering that I park outside at work and it rains like crazy and the sun beats down even harder. Interior is holding up perfectly. Do want to talk about the bad. The only bad thing that anybody in the electric vehicle world can do when they point to the Bolt is say, hey, that thing charges slowly. Again, it's only the DC fast charge speed that is slow. I charge at 10 kilowatts AC all day long. It charges just as fast as the new Hyundai I bought. And it charges faster than most of the old Teslas. Anything before about 2018 or 19. The ugly thing is that since the 30,000 mile update, I had to buy new tires. The Michelin tires, and this is no point or poke at General Motors, this is at Michelin. The Michelin tires should have lasted at least 50,000 miles, but I had to replace them at 41,000 miles, even though they had 3/32 of an inch of tread left. They just were not safe. Traction was B, and in rain, you need traction. So I replaced them with a little bit softer tire. I took a hit on miles per kilowatt hour, about 0.0 or 0.1 to 0.2, but I'll take the hit on mileage as opposed to safety because I live here in Florida. And I would rather be safe and lose a few miles per kilowatt hour than I had to be on the side of the road with my car banged up and possibly injured, or worse yet, injuring someone else. I do want to remind everyone that on September the 21st of this year, that's Saturday, September 21st, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., my wife and I will be at the Sustainability Fair and EV Car Show in Winter Park, Florida. It's going to be located at Central Park Meadow West. That address is 150 West Morris Boulevard in Winter Park, Florida. We'd love to see you there. We'll have both cars on display, both the Hyundai IONIQ 5 and my Bolt EUV. So if you have some time on Saturday, the 21st of September, and you're in the Central Florida area, come on out to Winter Park. I'll have the details in the link below. And with that, we're going to close out this video. I would like to thank you very much for stopping by today. Please do remember to subscribe, share, comment, and like, and ring the notification bell so you'll know when we've uploaded something new. Remember, treat everyone with kindness, put a smile on your face, help someone today, and pay it forward when someone does the same for you. Again, thank you very much for stopping by today. We look forward to seeing you again in the very near future, or somewhere along the route from point A to point B. Take it easy, everybody. See you all real soon.